Do subscribe to Ekeeda channel and press bell icon to get updates about latest engineering, HSC and IIT JEE main and advanced videos.
Hello students, today we are studying chapter Human Health and Diseases. In that we are studying topic types of drugs. Now when I say types of drugs, you all must be aware that there are certain depressants or antidepressants available which are not good for human health. Today we will be finding about them. When I say about drugs, it's not necessary that every drug that's available is a harmful one. For example, crocin, paracetamol, those are also chemical drugs, but they are for a well-being of an individual. They are given whenever you have a symptom regarding a particular disease, and those drugs cure you in a particular manner. Obviously, an overdose of any form of chemical or biological drug can harm your immune system or your entire immunology. Your WBCs, RBCs can go in different manner, or even they can die. But there are certain drugs available which are harmful even in small quantities if it is consumed by an individual. One of them could be depressants. Now when I say depressant, the name itself says it all. Depressants are those medicines which when taken or given to individuals, especially schizophrenic individuals, are given antidepressants. Now antidepressants are those medicines which remove you from depression condition. But when I talk about depressants, they increase your anxiety levels, they make you more nervous, they increase the activity of your brain at a faster level, they make you more subconscious. One of them is barbiturates. Another kind of narcotic drugs, or drugs if I can say, is stimulants. Now one of the examples of stimulants would be coffee. It just awakes your mind for a little span of time. Now, caffeine, which is present in coffee, if taken in little amount, it acts in a better manner. But an exceeding amount of caffeine or any other drugs would make your subconscious mind work in a far better way. Another form of drugs could be the narcotic drugs. Now, narcotic drugs are given to patients who have undergone operations, or whenever you have a severe pain. The painkillers basically are nothing but narcotic drugs, and those painkillers can vary from a little range to high form of steroids. Whenever somebody goes through operations, or whenever you have a toothache or tooth has been removed, all such cases you have been given a narcotic or a painkiller. And lastly, hallucination or hallucin drugs. Now when I talk about hallucin drugs, they are termed as trip drugs. The reason why they are termed as trip drug is that whenever a consumer or an individual consumes this drug, he or she goes to a world of fantasy which is unimaginary. And all these drugs which I have mentioned are some of them which are people get used to it, you get habituated to it, and your CNS system works in a certain manner that you want them, you need to consume them. Types of drugs. Now the various types of drugs today which we are looking about is majority of them are harmful if they are taken in an exceeding quantities. The first one is depressants. Now there's a difference depressants where it has to be used. Depressants has to be used only in regulatory guidelines. It should be only prescribed to patients when a doctor needs them to prescribe, not at all taken to by people if they feel like taking. Now, depressants are mostly given to schizophrenic patients or patients whose mental ability is little reduced or little shaken. What depressants do is they reduce the amount of tension in an individual. Basically, the anxiety levels or the stress levels in an individual goes down to a certain parameter once they take depressants, and they produce a state of relaxation and a sense of well-being. Now, depressants could be of two types, the antidepressants or the other type of depressants that are available. One of the examples of depressant is the barbiturates. The next type of drugs which we have come across is stimulants. Now, when I say stimulants, it means any medicines that gives you a kick or initiates a reaction which is very fast in your body or stimulates your body. Now, one of the simple examples of stimulants could be your caffeine, which is present in tea or coffee. That's a normal stimulant that every individual takes it, and taken in little quantity, it just stimulates your brain as well as makes it work or increases your concentration level. Now, stimulants other than caffeine are really very harmful if taken at a above level or taken even if in little quantity. What stimulants do is they boost your self-confidence, but in a wrong manner. They increase all your body reactions and they increase all the metabolic, anabolic reactions and every reaction in your body in a very speedy manner. They try to increase your blood pressure, the blood flow in your body. They make you more confident, at the same time nervous. They make you more sweaty. So all such reactions happen in the body when you take stimulants, especially a mixture of right and wrong reactions happening at the same time and confusing you all. Now, stimulants, they produce a sense of self-being you get for a certain period of time, which is not good in the long run. The next kind of drugs, narcotics. Now, when I talk about narcotics, they act as painkillers. Now, painkillers could be the mildest painkiller, could be crocin or other forms of painkillers such as steroid painkillers, which are given in arthritis, osteoarthritis patients, or whenever somebody undergoes surgery, or athletes for that matter, whenever they are doing some kind of sports. So, painkillers. Another thing that painkillers does is they reduce the pain. Basically, they act on your CNS, that is central nervous system, and the mechanism tries to stop the pain in that particular area. You won't feel the pain whenever you take a painkiller, but at long run, painkillers could have a harm, especially on your kidney, because kidney cannot do ultrafiltration of every painkiller or every steroid painkiller you're having on every day, and if you're having a long run. Now, painkillers also reduce the anxiety level and tension levels. One of the harmful painkillers could be opium and codeine. Now, opium is used in regulated forms in certain drugs. The government has given permission to use opium for mental patients to use in certain amounts, but that is just under regulatory guidelines. Any other person who's not using these medicines under regulatory guidelines would have an effect which is irreversible and a long time effect. The last form of drugs is hallucinogens. Now, hallucinogens are the drugs which, when taken by any individual, takes them to a land of fantasy. Something which is unimaginary is noticed by this individual. That is the reason this drug is called as a trip drug. And once a user gets hooked to these drugs or they get used to the drugs, they want those drugs. Now, daydreaming is a common symptom or sign of this hallucinogens. An example of this is LSD, a form of drug which is in liquid proportion. Whenever any individual takes hallucinogens or all of these addictive drugs, they get more prone to it and they want to consume it more and more in the long run, which will ultimately have harmful effects on their body, physically, mentally, as well as emotionally. Students, in this part of the chapter, what we came across were 4 different kinds of drugs. How taken in regulatory amounts and under medical supervisions, it can be useful to some patients who are mental patients or schizophrenic patients, but any other individual who takes it illegally and not under guidance may get prone to it, used to it, and may land up in trouble. I hope we are very clear with this concept of different kinds of drugs. Thank you.